class was what the words composentis actually mean. Its literal translation from Latin is of a sound mind, so the title of this course actually means using the sound mind to try and decide what is love. On the first Monday of this class, we came up with our broad definition of the word normal. It is how a society or the agents of a society in a specific area and time period expects its people to act and behave. It was surprisingly difficult. This definition alone took us the entire 3-hour class to perfect. For the past 3 weeks, we have endlessly discussed it along with the other subtopics, but we are still asking the questions, what really is normal?
Human behavior is seen every day, but how do we distinguish healthy behavior from unhealthy? Mental health can be disrupted by many things. A common cause of mental abnormalities is traumatic brain injuries. An example of this is temporal lobe epilepsy, which can lead to irrational thoughts and actions.
I am God!
The onset of gene editing tools such as CRISPR, it is now theoretically possible to edit the human genome. Hypothetically, this technology would be used to correct some mutations that could lead to diseases, but it could potentially be used to create designer babies, allowing parents to control certain traits of their children, such as height, weight, and hair and eye color. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Carson.
Hello.
This is your child without genetic modification. Oh my gosh, it's terrible. This is a child with genetic modification. He's perfect!
The inner machinations of my mind are an enigma.
The subject will be slightly damp in this recreation of a class experience. Here we have someone being conditioned. We learned about conditioning the mind of the victim. Conditioning is to train or accustomed to behave in a certain way or accept certain circumstances. People can be conditioned in many ways. Here we have Kara being conditioned with water. Conditioning this way is not necessarily fun for the one being conditioned.
During the second week, we discussed mental disorders and what causes them. We learned that a slight increase or decrease in chemicals in the brain can cause mental disorders such as depression, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, dissociative identity disorder, and various eating disorders, among many others. Continuing with this topic, we will reenact a story told to us while talking about body image.
Do you look at two trees and compare them based on their differences? Do you say that one tree is prettier than another because of its height or its weight?
Love your tree!
In the third week, we talked about the worldviews of normal. We discussed Western versus non-Western culture bias and how that influences their definition of normal and their views of society. Often the West is more individualistic, whereas the East is more collectivist. This is shown through their spirituality and their stereotypes.
On the 13th day, we were posed with the question of whether or not stereotypes are still a prevalent issue in the world today. As we got deeper into the topic and discussed our own experiences, we quickly realized that it is still a very widespread issue.
In this activity, Allison and I will read 3 stereotypical phrases. Members of our class will stand up and remain standing if they have been stereotyped in this way. Number 1. It has been assumed that you are up to no good because of the color of your skin.
Your intelligence has been assumed based on your appearance. For example, all blondes are dumb.
You are expected to be feminine and masculine based on your gender. Everyone is stereotyped.
Over our time spent in this course, we've been faced with difficult scenarios where questions emerge that are hard to answer. I will present you with just 3 out of many questions proposed to us. Please keep an open mind and think about your responses to each of the 3 questions. In addition, ponder your own definition of normal. Deafness, difference or defect?
What makes a murderer? Their environment or genetics? Is it ethical to cure mental disorders if that disorder makes that person happy? So, what is normal?